Hi everyone, this is Leslie Likens with CXPA. We are continuing our 2017 countdown to the International Customer Experience Day that we will be celebrating this year on Tuesday, October 3rd. Today I have the incredible honor of talking to Chantel Botha out of South Africa. We thought we would be at a pre-recorded session, but here we are live for all of you who have tuned in to be able to ask Chantel your questions today. She's going to share a bit more with us about experience design, customer journey mapping, and what she is observing as far as customer experience trends in South Africa and that region. So we're very pleased to have her with us. I just wanted to make a quick note that we would not be able to celebrate Customer Experience Day to the extent that we do without the incredible and supportive help from our sponsors. And so up on the screen right now, you'll see the number of sponsors who have joined us this year to celebrate customer experience worldwide. And I really just want to say a big thank you to that group. They really are there supporting all of you internationally as you bring customer experience to your organizations. So for our panel today, again, I am pleased to have with me Chantel Botha. Chantel, do you want to tell us, start off by telling us a little bit about how you became so passionate for customer experience? How did you get into this career field?
Yeah, I think, Leslie, I'm absolutely delighted to be here today and be on the panel with you. I think it's probably a combination of just like falling into customer experience by accident, and then realizing how much I hate experiences that suck, and how much I find that a challenge to actually fix it. And find someone who's willing to listen to me. I think probably like most customer experience professionals, I was working for a financial services company in the strategy unit, and they were looking at the business goals and objectives, and they said, well, we've got this client centricity pillar in our strategy. What are we doing about that? And I said, well, if we want to know how client-centric we are, we better be asking our customers how client-centric we are. So that's really how it started for me. It's almost 10 years ago. And I think, it's really about making people feel great about themselves. And I think designing that into experiences is why I get up and do what I do every day, is to make people feel just awesome about themselves.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a really beautiful, Chantel. So tell us a little bit, I mean, you've been doing this for a while now in South Africa. Tell us a little bit about what you've observed over like the changes that you've seen with respect to adoption of customer experience cultures and growth within customer experience in South Africa. What have you observed?
Well, I think, we had like the first networking event for CX professionals about 5 years ago. And we said to people, we're going to have breakfast in the Cape Town waterfront. And we posted it on social media, and we had 45 people show up. If I think now, if we do that same thing, we probably have like 150 people showing up. So, I think the interest have grown. I think we've moved from a market that was kind of predominantly, if you spoke to people about customer experience, it was equated to voice of the customer. So we've got, surveys, and we kind of chat to our customers, and we've got focus groups. And I've really seen a shift from moving from just voice of the customer to actually understanding what is the holistic, systemic things that need to be in place. What is the ecosystem demand in order to deliver a great experience? And we're seeing, organizations work harder at really achieving maturity and paying attention to all of the CX competencies, not just the cool ones, like, you'll see beautiful reports and dashboards or journey mapping, and we see just phenomenal journey maps. There's really the culture pieces, the process pieces, the technology pieces that need to be in place. And we see people, I think they get it more now. And they're also willing to dedicate resources just in terms of the job title of customer experience officer. We're seeing more and more organizations now willing to appoint people at executive C-suite level with that title and really giving them the organizational support.
Oh, that's great. That's a good sign. That's really good. I talked to a group yesterday. We had a panel discussion out of the Middle East and talked a bit about the challenges that they have within their culture, particularly to employee engagement. What are some of the challenges that you're finding in South Africa for customer experience adoption?
I think the employee engagement, and I think giving, really empowering people to change experiences at the coal face where they interact with customers is still, we find that if we look at large customer service centers, call centers, they went through a phase where process optimization was essential, where standardization was essential, and we still find a lot of environments where people have scripts. It's almost like the warm humanness have been trained out of them, and we're really seeing customers say, this doesn't work for us. We need to. I don't mind if someone doesn't use the exact language that compliance will be happy with, but I need to be able to understand what they say to me, and I need to be able to make a connection. So I think we're seeing a shift from, allowing people to make the box bigger, to be human again, and to be, full of flaws, but make a real connection rather than do it perfect and sound like a robot. So I think there's the people challenges. I think in our country, we're dealing with a lot of challenges that are around 11 official languages, and serving customers in their language of choice. I think there's still a long way to go around the culture of not complaining. So people in South Africa would put up with bad service and rather not complain because, I regularly get told as a mother with young children, if we go to a restaurant, I have to make this deal with my husband beforehand that I won't make a scene. Now, I usually only make a scene when it's absolutely necessary to make a scene. But I think we tolerate bad service. I think we don't escalate it to the right level where companies are really kind of putting effort and putting focus on getting the basics right. Get back to the basics, get the hygiene factors right.
Oh, that's fascinating. What an interesting challenge. I can't imagine people not complaining.
They're very proper and decent, nobody wants to complain. The shame of complaining and making a scene.
Wow. Wow. So fascinating. So Chantel, first of all, I want to remind those people that are tuned in right now, this is live. We had thought that we would be pre-recorded, but this is live. So if you are tuned in at the moment and you have questions for Chantel, or you'd like to hear more about what's happening in South Africa as far as customer experience, you can go ahead and chat those into the box there on the screen and send those questions our way, and I'll bring them up in our discussion. So please feel free to ask questions if you have them. And Chantel, because we thought that this was going to be a pre-recorded session, you and your team put together some really great resources for CX professionals who are part of this Countdown to CX Day. Do you want to describe a little bit more about what you were able to put together for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So a few weeks back, we absolutely love doing design for our customers, and although we kind of get involved in the whole customer experience ecosystem from strategy to defining what the experience is, the piece that really makes me happy is design and leading people to find their own answers and creating an environment where people can really design and innovate and look at their own business from a different perspective. So a few weeks back, we put together like a journey design, journey mapping pocket guide, where you will find all of the information that you need as a facilitator or as a person wishing to lead sessions like that, how to set up the sessions, what are the questions you need to ask, who are the people you need to involve. So we'll provide that link to download that pocket guide, and it really is, you can print it quite small and take it with you if you see. And then what we prepared and in the pre-recorded session, because we thought we would not be available, is really some of the questions we received on social media around people's challenges related to journey mapping. And what we did in the video is we showed you a few things. I think, we're a team, we love, getting very practical and showing people how to do things. We've also got on our website various downloads of these worksheets. We usually, when customers come to our workshops, they think they're there to attend a presentation, but they work really, really hard. So we love sharing those resources. And what we try to do in the video is kind of show you from the beginning, how you would map, how you would capture that, and some of the unconventional methods we use. So, we kind of used to doing maps against walls with post-it notes, but we have incorporated Lego serious play into journey mapping. And what we find is we probably can cut down our sessions by about 60% in terms of time, because you engage so much more of people's brains, because they think they're playing, but they're really coming to answers, and they can design much more complex things because they're working in 3D and they're working with their hands. So we've just seen incredible results with adults playing with Lego. Usually when they come to the sessions and they see the Lego, they go like, usually I meet Lego in the middle of the night when my kids have left it in the passageway and I'm on my way to the loo and I step in one of these blocks. But we've worked, with the C-suite, with board level, and people just, they unlock so many answers for their business through design thinking and using the Lego.
Oh, that's so clever. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Maybe you and I get to play some Lego one day.
I think so. Yeah, let's do some virtual Lego, some Lego mapping. So Chantel, as you were putting this together, you were mentioning to me earlier some of the struggles that CX professionals have expressed to you with respect to journey mapping. Do you want to describe this for our audience?
Yeah, so one of the most frequent questions we get asked, and we got asked it again on LinkedIn or Twitter, was, companies saying, well, I've got a journey map and it's really pretty and, I've got it against my wall, but nobody in the business wants to, really embrace this journey, and they haven't, implemented anything on this journey. And usually when we question them, we find out that it's a very isolated team that have mapped this, and they might have engaged consultants or graphic designers, and they came up with something that's really visually appealing and has a lot of value, but people don't own it because they didn't participate in it. So, my advice, and some people just don't like this advice, is pretend you don't have the map. Pretend like it never happened, and don't lose the value that's in the map, but don't see the map as the end goal. See the mapping process as a key part of transformation. See the mapping engagement and facilitation and the harnessing of human ideas in that process. See that as key to the transformation, instead of moving to the end of the journey, and I need a map because my manager's like scoring me on whether I've got a map. So we find, just if people have come up with the ideas, if they've designed that journey, they will own it and they will fiercely protect that journey. And the wider, sometimes we take the same journey and we map it with various audiences in the company. And we consolidate that, but everybody feels like they own a piece of the map because they came up with those answers. So that's something that frequently pops up, and I think, and not a lot of people necessarily feel that they've got all of the skills to facilitate journeys in the same way as consultants do. But I want to challenge that. I think anybody can facilitate journey mapping if you pick up that pocket guide and you go through those questions. It's more about the process than what it is about the deliverable and the artifact that you get at the end of the mapping.
That's so important. That's so important.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that. And so I would ask, do you have book recommendations for our viewers? We
Yeah, I
you always like to do some additional reading. So what do you recommend book-wise for people who are looking to read up a little bit more?
Yeah, so specifically on the mapping of journeys and design of journeys, we have a book called Mapping Experiences. It's by Jim Kalbach, and we'll post a link later. But we now use this as a textbook to our customer journey designer training, and the book is just incredibly inspiring in terms of all of the examples of maps that
Cool.
there's so many formats of maps in this book, and it's the kind of thing every time we do a journey map for one of our clients, we would go through Jim's book and kind of see what suits the organization and get like inspiration from the examples of the book. So I can highly recommend that book.
That's great. That's really great. So, what would your advice be to a CX practitioner who knows that they need to go through the journey mapping process within their organization, but maybe they don't have all of the leadership buy-in from the top? How do they get that organizational alignment so that they can really have a successful process in the journey mapping across the company?
I I would recommend that they start somewhere, and even if they don't have necessarily the attention of all the executives, one of the things I've used very successfully in the past is doing mystery shopping, and sometimes recording things if it's a retail example, or making phone calls to the company and really making the map come alive. So let's say we're dealing with a short-term insurance company that insures cars, and there's a CX professional that need to show the executives what the real experience is like. Mapping the journey and then overlaying some of these very prominent examples. What does a claims form look like? What is the top 10 complaints in the claims environment? And we use Prezi a lot as a tool to present the maps, because you can zoom in and out of the map, you can overlay multimedia, and you can really make that map come alive. And thinking about the story that you want to empower the executives to be able to tell. And if you make the story that vivid and that live, where they can listen, what is the interactive voice response system? What does it sound like? It's got 9 options, and by option 5, I have no idea what the previous four options were. Then and having the executives sit through this and really feel what it feels like. We see a lot of disconnect between senior leadership with regards to what they think the experience is and what the real experience is. So sometimes just leading them a little bit and letting them feel it under their skins goes a long way in terms of getting buy-in. And if you use clever tools like Prezi, you can really do that with quite with quite little effort in terms of the impact you can have.
That's good. So really make it tangible for them so that they can experience it as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of the things that I've noticed over the past few years with CXPA is that it's very, very hard to be a CX professional. I think there are times when people can just get very frustrated, burn out. It's a hard job to try to change culture, and I want to recognize that for all of our CX professionals out there. How do you consistently stay optimistic, Chantel? And what advice do you give to somebody who they want to see change faster, that it's happening, or they just feel like they can't get forward momentum? How do you keep on that positive side?
Yeah, I think in my career I think as a CX professional, a couple of times I've been really close to like quitting and just saying, fuck it up. Had enough. But I think if you get distracted by internal politics, and if you are obsessed about making a difference to the customer out there, I think it makes it easier. You know, sometimes in organizations, it takes long to get things done. It takes long to get approval. Not everybody's going to always agree with an approach. I had a mentor earlier in my career, and he used to say, you know, sometimes, Chantel, it's like spaghetti, pushing spaghetti up a hill. And I just, the image was just so beautiful, because as a CX professional, it sometimes feels like, you know, I just got a grip on it and then it slips and, you know, 10 things go wrong. But I think if one remains focused on the customer and then what the customer needs and the difference you're making to the customer's life, then all of the other noise in the system, you know, it's just noise. And I truly, with my team, I tell them, you know, sometimes things get hard, and not all of our customers like what we say to them. You know, we say we like your best friend who will tell you there's spinach in your teeth when nobody else will. You know, we don't want to lie to you. If your customer experience sucks, we really want to make it better, and we want to support you in making that better. So I think if a CX professional is willing to accept that not everybody's going to like what they're doing, not everybody's going to be supporting them, but there's that small group of evangelists who really believe and who will support you, and if you remain focused on the customer, it's all worthwhile.
Such great advice. Sage advice. Okay, my last question for you. And again, for those of you who are tuned in, if you do have questions for Chantel, it is not too late to submit those for us. Just send them in on the chat box and we will bring them up. My last question for you, Chantel, is where do you hope to see customer experience a year or 2 years down the road, there in South Africa and then broader worldwide? Big question.
Well, I mean, you know, we kind of every year we have a CX trends event in February, and every year we look at what are the major trends that will be shaping consumers' expectations from brands in the future. And it's, you know, a lot of the examples are like technology examples, and I think there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, virtual reality, automation, you know, robotics, and I think those things are fantastic, but I think we're still not getting the basics right. You know, so I can build an amazing, you know, robo chat that'll automatically answer customers' questions, but if I haven't got my brand experience clear, if I don't know, you know, what I want the robo chat to sound like, what I want people to feel when they engage with it, then most likely when I implement the technology, it's not going to be on brand. It's not going to be a great experience. Mm-hmm. So my personal wish is for brands to get back to the basics, to get back to their essence and really define what do they want to be. Be clear about what the promise is and what the promise is not. Otherwise, you know, all of these tech innovation is going to distract people. One of the other big things that I think, you know, that we're seeing brands in terms of advertising and in terms of kind of global trends is brands are getting much more purposeful. It's not just about the profit motive. It's about, you know, what dent am I going to make in this universe? What difference am I going to make to people's lives? And I think from a CX perspective, if we can make service better in South Africa, if we can enable people that, you know, lack the necessary skills in the hospitality industry, in the service industries, to make other people feel great about themselves, then service as a whole will become better. I don't think it's that obsessive focus on technical skills. I think it's on, if I look at, you've got young kids, or I've got young kids, if I look at their ability to engage with devices, they've got it waxed. You know, they can, you know, at a year old, they can work an iPhone and an iPad. Where they lack skills is the social skills and the ability to connect with other people. And that's really, if we can empower people to have more skills around real human connection. We call it real-time design. It's great to have journey mapping sessions and teach people, you know, how to design moments of magic. but there's also this skill around real-time design. You know, if I'm sitting here with you and I ask, well, what's Leslie's expectations of me now? How can I exceed those expectations? You know, how can I fail those expectations? And it's more a way of thinking and a way of being, and saying, well, you know, I really want to make you feel great about yourself. And that's something that you know, if you could bottle that and give it to everyone, that will make a difference in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think we could end on a better note. That was wonderful, Chantel. All right, so as a reminder to everyone viewing, we do have the link here on the screen for the resources that Chantel mentioned earlier. We'll also be putting them up on the cxday.org page. I encourage you to tune in to our next panel discussion. We will be talking more about experience design with a group of CX professionals in North America later on today. And again, all of these are recorded and they are available at www.cxday.org, which we will be celebrating on October 3rd, and I encourage all of you to join us then as well. So thank you so much, Chantel, for your time. I really appreciate the discussion. I feel like I'm going to go out into my day with this beautiful picture of where we're headed. It's great.
Thank you, Leslie. It's been awesome talking to you, and I look forward to looking at the rest of the lineup and joining on CX Day and celebrating with all of the professionals around the world.
Awesome. All right, well, until next time, thank you, Chantel.